Yeah, me too. Hey, hey, yes, thank you. Like, still dressing for the job that I want, not that I have. Waiting on Facebook to come up. We're on TikTok tonight as well. I've never done TikTok before. I've never been live on TikTok before, so we're doing we're doing Facebook, Instagram. I was in a bubble, a tiny little bubble of no, not a bubble, a small version of what it's going to be like for real when I like have a TV show and all that stuff. Because like my friend was doing my makeup, my friend did my makeup for me, and I don't have people do makeup, and she was doing makeup for me. I was like, oh, I'm just sitting here getting my makeup done and talking like mm. And then it was like, then we you guys should see it in here. We have pictures. We're gonna post the pictures, but it's like excessive, awesome, and like very much like And I have like this, all of this, and she got a green screen. So welcome. Don't want to mess up evil red lipstick because it is unkind, as my friend. Look how rude it is. Teleprompters, reading cue cards, speeches, and things of that nature. So I wanted to get more comfortable with reading aloud in front of an audience because that's not something I was always necessarily comfortable with. And it's not always something I'm comfortable with now. It's something that I'm practicing, and I got to continue to practice so that I can get perfect at it, right? So, for yourself because he was telling us to imagine if we had a magical kitchen that you could cook anything and anything you possibly wanted you can cook in this magical kitchen, and it's right. But if for whatever reason you lost that kitchen, and now this person's coming to you asking, hey, if you do what I want, I'll give you this pizza. Starvation and survival are going to require you to go ahead and take the pizza and do what you got to do so you can eat, right? So we're looking at it as love. If we're replacing these food things with love, when you are born as a person, you are capable of having a magical kitchen full of endless self love that never runs out, that has every tool, that has every ingredient that can make anything happen in the world, any food in the world. Your love that you already have is that. Um, but when we don't have self love, when we don't love ourselves, we don't, we're starving for that love. So when someone shows up with a box of pizza and says, do what I want for this pizza, me on Instagram and Facebook, Miss Taylor Said, and you can catch all of the previous episodes. Or if you go to my YouTube channel, Miss Taylor Said, you can catch up on all of the previous episodes starting from November 30th. But now we're going to go ahead and get into the Master of Love, Chapter 7, The Dream Master. Every relationship in your life can be healed. Every relationship can be wonderful, but it's always going to be you. You need to have courage to use the truth, to talk to yourself with the truth, to be completely honest with yourself. Perhaps you don't have to be honest with the whole world, but you can be honest with yourself. Ooh, what a word. You don't have to be honest with the whole world, but you got to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with nobody else in the world, you have to be honest with yourself. Perhaps you cannot control what is going reactions that make you so unhappy or make you so happy. Your reactions are the key to having a wonderful life. If you can learn to control your own reactions, then you can change your routines and you can change your life. You are responsible for the consequences of whatever you do, think, say, and feel. Perhaps it's hard for you to see what actions cause the consequence, what emotions, what thoughts, but you see the consequence because you are suffering the consequence or enjoying the consequence. You can control your personal dream by making choices. You have to see that if you like the consequences of your choices, or if you like the if it's a consequence you enjoy, then keep doing what you're doing. Perfect. Don't like what is happening in your life, if you aren't enjoying your dream, then try to find out what is causing the consequences you don't like. This is the way to transform your dream. Your life is the manifestation of your personal dream. If you can transform the program of your personal dream, you can become a dream master. A dream master creates a masterpiece of life. But to master I hope the video can at least save. I hope it's recording it. I am having a little bit of a connection issue. A little bit. It's a lot of devices in here, but that's okay. Let me see. That is why the Toltecs created the mastery of transformation, to break free from the old dream and to create a new dream where everything is possible, including escaping from the dream. In their transformation, the Toltecs divide people into dreamers and stalkers. The dreamers know that a dream is an illusion and they play in the world of the illusion, knowing illusion. The stalkers are like a tiger or a jaguar, stalking every and reaction. You have to stalk your own reactions. You have to work with your come up with a full 20-minute whole damn TED talk about what happened, why it happened, and what our reaction was and all of that. We can talk about every detail of it because it's it's that's the work you're supposed to do. When things happen, you're not supposed to be like, well, things happen. No, look at what happened. Become a historian of your own self. That's what I've started to do. Like, that's what I started doing in the last 6 or 7 months, is becoming a historian of myself. I literally went and pulled out all of my old notebooks. Oh no, I spilled my drink. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna get it up afterwards. I started pulling out all my old notebooks, all these old things that I had that were documentations of the things that I've gone through and the places and the mental spaces that I was in. I'm terrible about keeping up with a journal. I will start a journal and then go buy a new journal and start that one and then buy a new one. I'm terrible about keeping up with them. So I have a bunch of journals that I have to like just piece together. But I learned so much about myself. I learned about who cared about me, what letters did I have, the things that I did have that came from other people, what did they say, like who cared about me, who was invested, what was I going through, who was there for me during that time, how did I going through each thing. And it's taxing work. Don't be mistaken. It's film analysis and stuff like that. When you watch a lot of stuff like that, because I do, when you watch a lot of stuff like that, when you go to watch a movie, you're watching the movie with the mind of a film critic. And some watching it. However, if you take that film critic filter and you turn it into a mental, emotional, how I live in my dream filter, then you're constantly analyzing everything. And maybe it's easier for me. Sorry about that. Let me get back to this. So, having the film critic filter, but for yourself, right? It can be a burden. It truly can be a burden. And it's sometimes because you know that you're not going to come out of the situation. Like the for those of you that have been watching and been tuned in for the stuff that I've been going through in the last month, like it's a burden because I like when I look at like my exes and stuff and I can go back and well, I know exactly why they did this. I know exactly why they did this. I can't just sit here and just be mad at them because they did me wrong, because I know that what they did wasn't about me, it was about them. But at the same time, and that's why they're acting like that. Um, I'm yeah. Hopefully, because it looks like everybody's dropped out, but that's all right. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep reading. Okay, so we were talking about the consequences. You control your personal dream by making a choice, by making choices. You have to see if you like the consequence of your choices or not. If consequence you enjoy, then keep doing what you're doing. Perfect. But if you don't like what is happening in your life, if you aren't enjoying your dream, then try to find out what is causing the consequence you don't like. This is the way to transform your dream. I've read this part already. Let's get back to stalking our own reactions. That's where we left off. The stalkers are or a jaguar stalking every action and reaction. You have to stalk your own reactions. You have to work emotional poison and increase the drama. If you can control your reactions, you will find that soon you are going to see, meaning to perceive things as they meaning to perceive things and react to that in many ways. You can accept that person what that person said and think, "Yes, I must be stupid." You can get mad or feel humiliated or simply ignore it. The truth is that this person is dealing with his own emotional poison, and he said that to you because you were the first person across his path. It has nothing to do with you. There is nothing personal there. There's nothing personal there. If you can see that truth the way it is, you don't react. You can say, "Look at that person who's suffering so much." Don't take it personally. This is just one example, but it applies to almost everything that happens every moment. We have a little ego that takes everything personally, that makes us overreact. We don't see what is really happening because we react right away and make it part of our dream. Your reaction comes from a belief that is deep inside you. Your reaction comes from a belief that's deep inside of you. The way you react to change your normal reactions, to change your routine, to take that we never chose to have the parasite, which is the judge, the victim, and the belief system. If we know we didn't have a choice and we have the awareness that God gave us free will. This is true, but the dream took it away and kept it because the dream controls the will of most people. Listen, like Dana, the People's Oracle, said, ain't no free will. Ain't no free will. You don't have it because we live in the dream. There are the people who say, I want to change. I really want to change. There's no reason for me to be so poor. I'm intelligent. I deserve to live a good life, to earn much more money than I earn. They know this, but that is what their mind is telling them. Awareness, we have a choice. If we awareness all the time, we could change our routines, change our reactions, and change our entire life. Once we have the awareness, if we have the awareness, if we have the awareness, I am I am not reading the right way tonight, y'all. I apologize. I apologize. But if we don't have the awareness, we have no choice. Becoming aware is about being responsible for your own life. You are not for what is happening in the world. You are responsible for yourself. You are responsible for yourself. You didn't make the world the way it is. The world was already the way it is before you were born. You didn't yourself. And in order to be happy, you have to look at what you believe, the way you judge yourself, the way you victimize yourself. Be completely honest about your happiness. Don't project a false sense of happiness. Don't project a false sense of happiness by telling everyone I'm a success in everything I want. I'm so happy when you don't like yourself. Everything is there for us, but first we need to have the courage to open our eyes to truth and to see what really is. Humans are so blind, and they are blind because they don't want to see. Let's look at an example, okay? A young woman meets a man and she feels a strong attraction for him right away. Her hormones are all the way up. Him. And what does she see? She only sees what she wants to see. She really the relationship will work. The girlfriends say, but he's on drugs. He's an alcoholic. He's not working. Sis. She says, yes, but my love, her because they can see where he's going. They say, this is not a good man for you. It's my life and I'm going to do what I want. Months later, the relationship brings her back to reality. The truth starts to come out and she blames the man for what she didn't want to see before. There's no respect. There's a lot of abuse of her self-abuse. What is the limit of her self-abuse? All occurs because we don't want to see. When it is clear before our eyes, even when we meet someone and he tries to pretend to be the best he can, even with the false mask, he cannot avoid presenting the lack of love, the lack of respect, the lack of respect that he has. But we don't want to see it and we don't want to hear. That is why an ancient prophet once said, there is no worse blind man than the one who doesn't want to see. We are so blind. We really are. And we pay for that. But if we open our eyes and see life as it is, we can avoid a lot of emotional pain. It doesn't mean we don't take a risk. We are alive to take risk. And if we fail, so what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. We learn and we move on without judgment. We don't need to judge. We don't need to blame or feel guilt. We just need to accept our truth and intend a new beginning. If we can see ourselves just the way we are, everything can start changing from that point forward. Everything can start changing. forward. If you're just joining us, we are reading The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. We're reading The Mastery of Love by Miguel Ruiz. Everyone has a price, and life respects that price. But that price is not measured in dollars or in gold. It is measured in love. That's the price. When you love yourself, the price is very high. When you love yourself, your price is very high. Which means your tolerance for self-abuse is very low. You love yourself, your price is very high, which means your tolerance for self-abuse is very low. It's very low. Respect yourself. You like yourself the way you are, and this makes your price higher. If there, let me read that. Sometimes the judgment is so strong that people need to be numb just with themselves. I've known so many people like that. Life without hating every day, even though he really don't. I know people that abuse drugs and alcohol, abuse sex, abuse food. They abuse things. They try to escape with things. They abuse church. They abuse God. And when I say they abuse God, I mean they're using him as a way to not take responsibility for themselves. And you just try to thinking it's going to distract you going through from the fact that your self-judgment is that high. If you don't like a group of people, you can walk away from people. But if you don't like yourself, it doesn't matter where you go, you are right there. To avoid being with yourself, you need to take something to numb you, to take your mind away from yourself. Perhaps some alcohol is going to help. Perhaps some drugs will help. Perhaps eating, just eat, eat, eat. The self-abuse can get much worse. There are people who really feel self-hatred. They are self-destructive, killing themselves little by little because they don't have the courage to kill themselves fast. Woo! Yikes! Yikes! Wow. Okay, I was not ready for that one. I wasn't ready for. Ooh. Ew. Ooh, y'all. Y'all. Ugh. Let me read that one again. Let me find it and then I'm going to read it again. Okay. As you know, suicidal, trigger warning, suicide. Being suicidal can just come in the form of someone doing an not impulsive, but an instant action. There are people that intentionally don't take care of their health. They intentionally don't take care of their health because they're hoping, nah, I'm not, I'm gonna die anyway. Okay, bet. They don't take care of their health. They don't take care of their finances. They don't take care of, they indulge in things that they know hurt. Listen, and I'm talking to myself too. I have done this. I have done this in so many different ways. Like, in just literally, or like pushing the pedal, going like I said, living fast, dying young. Just I'm gonna do all that I can. I don't care how destructive it is. I don't care how many lives I destroy. I don't care. I'm here for the good time, not a long time. Let's go. Bruh, I know somebody that used to literally go out and would be like, bro, we're gonna die tonight. We're gonna die tonight. Talking about that's how much he wants to drink. That it feels like you're dying. Because that self judgment is so strong that you just slowly doing it. Because you don't have the courage to just be like, you know what, let me, since I feel like I'm such, and what I'm saying. Anyway, probably didn't need to be said. That's why I forgot it.
Indulging in those vices,
Mm-hmm.
you face in fear of what happens when you
Friend just popped in and said indulging in those vices is fear of what might happen, not indulging in them anymore.
or when you have time, or when you have clarity, or when you have to be responsible, you can't blame it on the alcohol.
Whenever you have time, whenever you have clarity, whenever you cannot blame it on the alcohol, baby. And listen, it was what is that word? Non-negotiable. It was a deal breaker, so it turned into a deal breaker. So I stopped doing it. And when I got sober, I learned a lot about myself. And I sis, I did not like her at all. I did not like me first got sober when I was 22 or 23 years old because I realized how miserable I actually was. I realized how unhappy I was with myself. And on top of that, I was in the house for a year because I was unemployed. So I was going through sobriety and isolation at the same time. And it sucked. Now, I got a lot of clarity. I learned a lot about myself. I got real in tuned with who I am. That's where the bulk of my emotional work started because I had to address things, to acknowledge what I was doing. I had to acknowledge my anxiety. I had to acknowledge my depression. I had to acknowledge my substance abuse. I had to acknowledge, and when I say substance abuse, is because I was not doing the things to enjoy them. I may not have like. I was not. I am not. I don't have. I do not have the words. I wasn't binging on my vices, but I was using them to escape my pain. And so even if I wasn't out here always high, always drunk, because of the fact that I was using a specific purpose of escaping my sadness. But when I had to be sober and I was in action during that time, I was miserable. And I realized I was miserable because I was miserable. Because I wasn't happy. Because I didn't love myself. Because I didn't take the time, ever took the time to actually sit down and look at and lay all the papers out and just read what was going on. And that was the first time in my life that I got a chance to do work. and get to do shadow work. And it was light work, during that time. But, it helped me with my relationship, my spirituality. It helped me. I was doing that at that time, and I was doing that work then. I just didn't realize it until now. Um, but but back sobriety showed me who I was. For the first, the mirror was clean and clear, and I could see everything. And it makes you realize a lot of us are using things to escape our life because we're not happy, and we'd rather just cope with something than to actually deal with ourselves. And it's detrimental. It's detrimental. And I'm telling you, it's not just alcohol and drugs, bruh. People use food, use whatever it is they can get their hands, mind attached to, or their heart attached to escape the fact that they're not dealing with themselves and they don't love themselves. And that's not fair to you. It's luxury items, yeah. It's not fair to you. Because at the end of the day, if all of that's, bruh, I always go back to this. I said, bruh, like, y'all. Anyway, I always go back to the story of Job and the idea nice, everything you like, everything you dislike, every person that ever mattered to you, and you didn't have to go through the mourning process or the grieving process, and all you had was yourself left. What you gonna do? What would you do? How would you feel being with yourself? How would you move? How would you live? How would you survive? People are not meant to be alone, obviously. People are not meant to be alone. But if you were put in that circumstance, like the Twilight Zone, where that man was the last man on earth and he loved to read, but then his glasses broke, like, if you had to be with yourself, what would you do? 2020 gave us a little bit of that for some people. Themselves and do that emotional work instead of the to go out and drink and do all the things that we used to use to distract us. And aren't we hard pressed to get back access to the things that distract us? Because it's uncomfortable being in your house, having to be with yourself. It's uncomfortable realizing you the boring one. It's you. You're the one that's boring. It's uncomfortable realizing you're the one that's nasty and hateful. It ain't your friends that's got and all of that. Like, they gossip with you, but guess what? The only reason why they comfortable gossiping with you is because that's already who you are. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable realizing you wasn't all you thought you was cracked up to be because you ain't been doing the work. Yourself. How much time do you spend in the mirror talking to yourself? Do you have mirrors in your house at all? How much time do you spend with things turned off? Music on minimum. How much time do you spend doing that? How much time do you spend with yourself? How much time do you spend doing nice things for yourself? Do you buy yourself flowers? chasing responsibilities and obligations and things that you need to live, any additional obligations and responsibilities are choices that you are continuing to make and choices that you're continuing to say yes to. That's all they are. That's all they are. They're just things you keep saying yes to that you can let go of at any moment. Ultimately, you can let go of at any moment. And sorry, I lost my thought. Um, mm, I lost my thought. Thank you, thank you. Um, love yourself. I feel like every episode of Reading what Miss Taylor said always comes back to yourself and be yourself. Love yourself and be yourself. Love yourself enough to be yourself. Love yourself enough to be non-negotiable about you being yourself. That's all I really want, y'all. Like, if I don't do anything else with Miss Taylor said, if nothing else Taylor said except a dozen people have, I've done what I've left my legacy. I've done it. That's all I want. I just want everybody that I connect with to love themselves, audacity to be themselves. Because you deserve it. You deserve to live in an existence where you were yourself. You deserve to have your story that you were always true to who you are and that you were always that. With everything I continue to go through, I'm doing my best to continue to just be myself. If that means I gotta cut my hair off, color that thing, and look like Amber Rose halfway, hey, I'm gonna be myself. If that means that I dress up to sit in the house for an hour on the internet and take some pictures and make some videos. Nobody love me better than me. Ain't nobody tell me how I work, how I run, how I operate. And since they ain't come here to give y'all an introductory lesson to this is Taylor, you know, it's up to me to make sure that everything I do exudes authenticity. Everything I do exudes integrity. Everything I do is Taylor. Because I am Taylor. I am Taylor. No one else is Taylor for me. No one else is Taylor Cope except for me. And I'm going to say, I like my name. I enjoy my full government. No one else can do Taylor Shalise Cope better than Taylor Shalise Cope. That's what I'm going to do. That's what you should do. No one can do you better than you. No one can be you better than you. And you don't have to numb yourself because you don't have to numb yourself. If you observe self-destructive people, you will see they attract just like them. Ain't that a fact? What do we do if we don't like ourselves? We try to get with alcohol to forget our suffering. That's the excuse we use. Where are we going to get alcohol? We go to a bar to drink, and guess who be there. People just like us who try to avoid themselves also, who also try to get numb. We each other perfectly because we vibrate in the same frequency. We are both being self-destructive. Then I hurt you, you hurt me. A perfect relationship in hell. What happens when you change? For whatever reason, you no longer need the alcohol. It's okay now to be with yourself and you really enjoy it. You no longer drink, but you have the same friends drinking. They get numb, they start getting happier, but you can clearly see that it's not real. What they call happiness is a rebellion against their own emotional pain. In their happiness, they are so hurt that they have fun hurting people and hurting themselves. You no longer fit in. And of course, they resent you because you no longer like them. Hey, are you rejecting me because you no longer drink with me, because you don't get high with me? Now you have to make a choice. You can step back or you can go to another level of frequency and meet people who finally accept themselves like you do. You find there is another realm of reality, a new way of relationship, and you no longer accept certain kinds of abuse. Sometimes I think sometimes I think that sometimes I think that Jesus was right now I feel like I'm in a space where I'm collecting people because I am collecting people that are like-minded. I'm collecting people that want the same things that I want. I'm collecting people that they're light and they want to love themselves and they want to be themselves. They want nothing more than to be themselves. And the people that don't fit in that I don't that the people I set boundaries with, they're not with it. The people that I the people that I used to gossip with, they're not with it. The people that I would, you know, people that I would get toe up with back in the back days when I first got sober, they weren't with it and I couldn't be with them. You know, like people shed away when they can no longer have you in the way that they met you. People shed away when they become more obsessed with what you used to be rather than who you are now. And they're stuck. They're stuck over there. And they get upset because they see you doing something different. They say stuff like you're moving funny. Stuff like that. But you're not. You're being yourself. You're being yourself and you're vibrating on a higher frequency. And there's nothing wrong with that. You deserve to love yourself. Show to communicate a certain way, as long as you know that you did everything, you did your best, and you were impeccable with your word, like in the four agreements. You were impeccable with your word. You didn't make assumptions. You always forget that third one. Impeccable with your word. You don't make assumptions. I know the last one is you try your best. You always do your best. Impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. And let's see if he has it in the beginning. It's not here. Oh gosh, I can't remember it, y'all. I can't remember it. Oh man, that's bothering me now. But if you know that you're doing everything that you're supposed to do, And that is fine. Sad. It'll be heartbreaking. It'll be heartbreaking because you carry love for that person to be with you on the journey. You want them to walk with you. I've lost people. I've lost so many people that I wanted to walk in life with. But if you're going up, that's what we're going to do. Ourselves, we're going to love who we are, and we're going to spend more time with ourselves so that we can continue to develop that self love. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate y'all watching the show tonight. Thank you, people in TikTok that are watching, that have watched. Thank you, Facebook. I hope that this video, the playback, if the connection, but it'll be 6:30 because this setup, I gotta get quicker with the set. See, you know what I need to do? I need to do a NASCAR how the pit crew, how they have to practice and rehearse, setting up and changing the car out and changing all the stuff out on the car. I got to do that, but with setting up the production stuff because it's a lot of stuff going on here. But one of these days I'm gonna have a studio, and I'm gonna be either in somebody's studio or my own studio or Kevin on Stage studio doing this. But until then, we are here doing it like this, and I'm so happy to watch the show grow. I'm so happy to continue to grow with y'all, and I appreciate every viewer, every person that pops in, even if you just pop in for 2 seconds. If you're seeing this, like, share. If you're on Instagram, I'm going to start adding this call to action. So on Instagram, create it. Y'all can spam my stuff, get me on the timeline, help me get on the timeline, share, like, go to my YouTube page, Miss Taylor Said on YouTube, and subscribe. We are getting these numbers, and we're getting my content in front of more people. All right, y'all. Um, hey, I'm about to end the show, but we're dropping with all the stuff and the things, and I very much appreciate your contribution to Miss Taylor Said. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get on out of here. I hope y'all have a great night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.